Wonder if you are coming across boring and what you can do about it? Well, tune in as I share 10 things you can do to not be boring in your relationships and in dating. If you are excited about this video, make sure you go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you can stay tuned in other amazing videos just like I am Bulluck, and I am a life and dating manifestation coach here to help you to manifest everything you desire and deserve, including your man. Listen, before I met my husband, I had dated this guy who asked me tons of questions, and he seemed extremely interested in me. And he pretty much told me he'll give me the world. All I had to do was just say when. And I was buying into everything he was saying. And then I finally realized that the interest was fizzling away. I don't think perhaps I wasn't returning the favor in being as interested as he was in me. And finally, it just became as if he was playing me like a fiddle. And he finally ended up ghosting. And what I believe is he really just realized he was trying to test how much depth did I really have to me and who was I all about. And the more he inquired and searched, he realized that there wasn't much there. And so I want to share with you these 10 things to how you won't come across to be boring. You ready? Make sure you grab your pen and your paper because I am about to drop some knowledge. Okay? Okay. All right. Number one, first thing first, you don't want to be failing to lack awareness, not being fully present. Okay. You need to understand what you're saying and what you're not saying, how you're showing up, even being conscientious of the resting position of your face. Like, just have a level of self-awareness about the questions you're asking and you're not asking, and what they're asking, what they're not asking or saying and not saying, and really just being present with that person, right there. Number two, you may fear judgment and rejection. And so if you fear that if you say something or if you do something that somebody's going to reject you or they're not going to accept you, then you're not going to be vulnerable. You're not even going to be really forthcoming and honest. And that can make you seem a little shallow, like there's no depth to you because you're not willing to share anything about you. So how can somebody truly get to know who you are and what you're all about if you're so walking on eggshells or so afraid of judgment? The truth of the matter is that people are going to judge you. I mean, I hate to say it, that's what we kind of tend to do, right? Good, bad, or indifferent. We didn't tend to, quote unquote, judge people, but you have to be so comfortable in your own skin and who you are and understand that your past doesn't define you. Let me give a disclaimer here. This is not the time to necessarily give out the whole rap sheet of everybody that you've ever been with in your life. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is you can be transparent about how you grow up, about some of your greatest challenges, some of your struggles, some of your flaws and imperfections. Let that person see you as a human being and dash this whole, representative and this whole persona and having a super beat face and like just all this superficial stuff and not really showing up in a way that's genuine and authentic. Just be you. And the truth is either they're going to love you and accept you for who you are or they're not. But the sooner you can get to that point to understand, then the better. And then sometimes too, it's not even about them accepting or rejecting you, because what I know for sure, as women, for the woman that's watching this, maybe a few great men watching as well, but for women particularly, we sometimes wait for somebody to reject us and to abandon us, and we don't even like them. So just as much as they're interviewing you or checking you out, you should be interviewing them and checking them out, which is going to lead to some other tips I'm going to give you in just one moment. So number three, you don't have a hobby. You don't go out dancing regularly. You don't do any knitting, you're not doing gardening. You just don't have a hobby, right? And maybe there's a small percentage of women out there that have hobbies, but most women I talk to don't have any type of hobby. It's like everything revolves around one or two things, but there's nothing that they do. They may work a lot, but they don't necessarily do anything on a consistent basis that they enjoy, even bike riding, you name it, something that you do. So I want to encourage you to try to find a hobby. something that you love. Maybe even it's working out, maybe it's cooking, maybe, you know, and I don't want to say, don't tell me you cook once or twice a week for your family and say that's your hobby. That's not your hobby, especially if you're, you know what I'm saying, doesn't really qualify as a hobby. But let's say you're taking cooking classes and you're really kind of getting into the culinaries and trying specialty desserts and really getting into it to a deeper level, then maybe okay. But let's try to find a hobby. Okay, number 4. It kind of goes back to number 3. You don't have a hobby. And even worse, you may not even have a life, right? So outside of work and church, what are you doing? You know, too often, that's the thing. It's like, if you're ambitious, career-driven women, you may be tempted to work. And I've been there, because when I was single, I was that girl that was working 10, 12 hours a day, and even sometimes longer, just throwing myself into my career and my job, not realizing that one was just making me so limited in my perspective. And I was just kind of being boxed in, and everything was about my job. And then sometimes it also caused you to complain and not be as fulfilled. But you don't want to have a life like that. And if you're telling me if all you do is go to work in church, I can't imagine that you're fulfilled, even if you love what you do. There needs to be some element of fun in your life. There needs to be some things that you're doing to connect and have meaningful relationships. And these meaningful relationships is going to be maintained even beyond you meeting your amazing man or whatever that amazing person that you meet. There's going to be something beyond that. These relationships are going to last, and you're going to continue to explore with each other and continue to develop these amazing friendships. The next thing, number 5, is you don't understand your value and what you bring to the table. Oh my God, my girlfriend yesterday, she's kind of my girlfriend slash mentee. It's a great relationship I have with this young lady. She was sharing this video with me and say, hey, can you give me your perspective on this video? And what I realized is the girl was saying, oh, well, what I do, I cook, I clean, and, you know, kind of imply that she gives good sex and some other things. Okay, all this, but it's like, the guy was asking, what do you bring to the table? So that's a question that you have to know. What do you bring on the table? And honestly, today, cooking, cleaning, sex, all that, those are all things that can be bought. And you really have to understand your value and your worth on a deeper level, right? Like, your value and your worth should be defined by your confidence, by your ability to be fully present, to provide appropriate amount of emotional support, your ability to allow that person to be who they are, you being secure, so when they communicate, they don't feel like they're walking on eggshells. Your ability to be exciting, your ability to create exciting experiences and exciting conversations, your ability to comfort them in maybe a difficult time when that's appropriate. Sometimes that's kind of getting a little deep. Yeah, you got to know your worth and your value. And it's not even about how much money you make, although that may be an added value, right? Because I know women, we out here bossing up. I get it. But your value in your work, truly, it really gets down to the non-tangible things. Your faith, come on, your ability to pray for and over your husband or future husband, right? Those type of things are so much more valuable than you talk about you cook and you clean. I mean, I could cook and I clean too, but honestly, those are not my priorities. Those are not my priorities, and that's not what I'm advocating or have ever advocated to my husband about the value I bring, and nor should you. It may be an added benefit and it's nice, and I do believe women should have some level of being domesticated or hopefully bringing in some help to support that. So I'm all about that too. All right, you guys. So listen, if you have not already, make sure, if you're enjoying this content, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and set on the notification bell so you can get more videos like this. Also, I dropped a freebie for you to take advantage. You can grab a copy of my video series. Just click down the link below and you can get it, and I'll send that right to your inbox. All right, let's go back to it. Number 6, stop talking about yourself. Like, as I think about it, going back to the scenario I told you about earlier, when I met that guy, he was the one asking all the questions, and I was just yapping. And that's okay, because they ask questions, but the truth is, when you're in conversation, it should be reciprocal, and all roads should not lead back to something about you. Like, you need to find a way, when they ask you a question, how can you flip it back on them? Because you want to show that you're interested in them. one thing me and my husband jokes about, you heard it a 10 million times. You have 2 ears and 1 mouth. So you should listen more than you speak. Because also, if you're doing all the talking, what you're not doing is collecting data. And for those who are watching this and are dating, that's what the whole point of dating is for you to have an opportunity to collect data. And so make sure you're on your JOB and collecting that data by asking thought-provoking questions. So for example, if he asks you, oh, where have you, I love to travel. Where have you traveled before? You can say, hey, I've traveled to, I don't know where that may be. Maybe you'll say, I've traveled to Jamaica, or maybe you haven't traveled outside of the country. You can say, you know what? I can't believe this. And I'm embarrassed to say, I haven't traveled outside the United States. I've traveled to Vegas. I've traveled 20 of the 50 states, but I haven't traveled outside the country. Now, it's something I want to do. How about you? What have you traveled? Have you had an opportunity to travel outside of the country? Tell me about it. I'm so excited to learn more. So like, find ways to not just go on and on about you, but find a way to flip it back on them. Okay. Next thing is remove distractions, right? This is so important. And this goes back to helping you with number 1, being fully present. You may need to silence your phone. You may need to put your phone up in your purse. Listen, we know that people got TikTok going on, Instagram, Facebook notifications, text messages. You don't want to be that girl that's on your phone constantly as he's trying to talk to you or having a conversation at every moment. Between a pause, you're texting somebody, because it gives the vibe that you don't really want to be there. And who wants to be with somebody and be in the same space with somebody when they feel like that other person is not even fully engaged in the conversation or in whatever is happening at that moment in time? You see what I'm saying? So don't be that girl. Number 8, try something new. Move beyond your comfort zone. Yes. I don't know what that is for you. Some of the things, I think about, like me and my husband, when we're dating, we went ziplining. That was like not something I necessarily would have, I don't know if I would have just done that, but he presented opportunity, and I wasn't going to be that girl that'd be like, oh no, I'm not, I don't want to, I'm afraid of heights. No. I went ahead and did it. That also may be something with him, or it may be something on your own. It may be you want to volunteer, maybe try going to a shelter, try doing a walk for autism or walk for diabetes. Maybe you've always wanted to learn a new language. Like, do it. Take a boxing class, take a dancing class, learn Kung Fu. Do something with yourself, would you? Do something with yourself. Take a trip. You get my point. All right. Number 9. I would just say you want to be positive. You want to be optimistic, and you want to be encouraging and inspiring. Like all these things. Like what you don't want to be is complaining. Like, don't be out there complaining about your boss, your job, about your life, about what's not working, about the server, about your food. If the food comes and you don't like your food, then that's fine. You don't have an obligation to eat something you don't like, but don't spend the first 5 or 10 minutes talking about how much you hate the food. I actually had this happen with a close relative of mine, and they just kept going. It was me, my relative, and my then boyfriend, now husband, and they just went on and on and on, like for 5 minutes, about how nasty the food was. And it was just so off-putting. I mean, I was embarrassed for me because I brought that person, that whole conversation got spun out of control. But the whole point of it is, don't be out here complaining. Find a way to bring positive energy, to find a way to be optimistic. If you get something you don't like, you can be like, oh, that was not exactly what I was expecting. And then you say, oh, ma'am, actually, I was expecting XYZ. Is there any way I can exchange this out? Don't be Debbie Downer. Number 10, drum roll, please. Be spontaneous. Don't be so predictable. Ma'am, come on, ladies, let's get it together. Throw some curveballs in there. It may be saying something slick, a joke, or it may be a reaction that you have. You can maybe play a trick. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, just don't be so, everything is just like 1, 2, 3, like we're in the military. Right there, right there, right there, right. Like, I mean, that's going to get old after a while. That is absolutely going to get old after a while. Also, you can surprise them with a trip. Now, again, I don't know, you may be watching me for the very first time. I'm not about advocating that you go take this man on Jamaica to make Jamaica or across the country. Not at all. One, I don't even recommend that you go on trips like that when you're dating, but that's another video for another day. But it may be like just a day trip. You know, you don't have to have no hotel involved, but maybe you guys take the mega bus up to New York or to Miami or to Vegas. I don't know. Do something interesting, do something spontaneous, do something surprising. You know, you want to kind of keep him guessing, and hopefully he's keeping you guessing. And that's what makes things interesting. And so there you have it. Those are the 10 things that I wanted to encourage you. Now, I want you to make sure you drop in the comments and let me know what you think. Have you tried any of these things? Are you open to try any of these things? And did I leave off anything? Drop in the comments and let me know. And make sure, if you have not already and you got into this point of the video, do me and you a big favor. Make sure you hit that big subscribe button, hit like, and make sure that you hit the notification bell so you can get more videos like this. And grab a copy of my video series so you can find out more about how to attract everything you desire, including an amazing man. So anyway, that's my time. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video.